All right, so let's try this number 2. Oh, pull into Ellinger. Watch out. You're going to Austin with me today. And it's not really what you're seeing on the video. It's what the information is that I'm giving. I'm spitting. And what we're spitting is to help guys do better in relationships with ladies, right? Because, you know, it seems to be kind of difficult at times. So, in my 50 years, I've seen some things, and I started to learn that criminal court cases are a good way to see how women behave without that mask on, that public mask, because you hear facts of cases, and they're just going through their daily lives, and that's where you see their true natures, I guess, for lack of a better word. If that's in my opinion, right? I'm connecting dots. If someone sees these dots and wants to connect them like I do, which, you know, a lot of us men, we're gonna, you know, someone will sit you down and go, hey, look at this. You're like, oh yeah, right? So, I told you this video is going to be about the Mike Williams case, right? And I did alpha seed, beta need. But in this case, I wouldn't say that the lady that Mike Williams was married to, Denise Williams, well, she was Denise Morrow originally. She became Denise Williams when they got married, obviously. Well, she started having an affair in 1997 with his best friend, Mike Winchester, is the other character involved. And he was also married to a young lady. They were all high school friends. Mike Williams and his wife, Denise, and Mike Winchester and his wife. I think her name was Karen. I might be wrong on that, but not that important to the story with her. It goes. So Mike Winchester, the killer, the murderer, pled guilty to it. Worked an immunity deal. The immunity deal he worked out was 20 years in prison for kidnapping Denise, his wife. We'll get into that. And he testified. He spilled the beans. I mean, everything. So for him, it was good. He got an immunity deal out of it. So I would encourage you to go watch the Mike Winchester testimony, and you'll probably be quite surprised at what he was able to do to his best friend. We'll go into it a little bit. So basically, these guys, this crew, Denise, Mike Winchester, and Mike Winchester's wife, whatever. These four are a crew in high school in Florida. Tallahassee's the area they were around. So they're out in Tallahassee, you know, group of friends, you know, going on double dates, you know, and, you know, you get to know each other, right? Well, Mike Winchester took a liking to Denise. Denise seemed to take a liking to Mike Winchester. I think it was in 2000. The dates aren't important, but in 2000, Mike Williams and Denise Williams get married. And so basically, Mike Winchester was having an affair, a sexual, and what he describes, you know, he was, when Mike would go to work, he'd go over to their house. When, you know, he'd go to her house at lunch. When they were having a torrid affair. 3 years under his best friend's nose. Okay? These guys hunted together. I mean, they were boys, dude. I don't consider that a boy, really. But, hey, that's what, you know. But anyway, so that behavior alone, that's why I don't consider Mike Winchester an alpha male or whatever you want to call it. I mean, that's just an alpha male, beta male. They're just placeholders. But I wouldn't consider what he did was very beta, you know, very weak, you know, scarcity mindset is not, you know, and when we say alpha beta, we mean like kind of strong mindset, weak mindset, right? It's not a strong mindset, you know. If you're going to go, you know, have sex with your best friend's wife and do it behind his back, not tell him, and then believe that she's the best thing on earth and y'all are soulmates and you have to kill him to get married to her. That's just crazy, right? Well, that's what happens, right? But, you know, they call it, they have the Swiss cheese, you know, whole theory. Basically, if all things align, you know, all the holes of the Swiss cheese align at one time, you know, you got a problem, right? That's kind of what happens in this case, I believe. So, so after about 3 years, Denise claimed to be very Christian. She didn't want to get a divorce. She also didn't want to give up. She had a daughter with Mike. She did not want to give up rights to her daughter, so the divorce was out of the question. So, and not to mention, let's go back to the beta need issue. Mike Williams made over $200,000. He was a property appraiser in the Tallahassee area. He worked for a realtor. I believe it was Ketchum Realtors. I think they're very, very popular there, whatever. But he made good money and worked very hard, worked a lot. And according to Mike Winchester, that worked out for him in the sexual affair. And Denise apparently didn't like him working all those hours. So these beta need guys, oh, I would be a plow horse for my wife. Well, she was getting plowed somewhere else, you know, and that, you know, it doesn't matter how hard, that doesn't arouse them. We talk about arousal. She has to be aroused. She's not aroused by your hard working. She's not aroused by that big paycheck. She likes it, but once again, guys, being liked is nothing. You don't want to be liked by your lover. You know, if I said lover, you need to think in terms of lover. Your wife, your girlfriend, she needs to be your lover, like in a romance novel. You know, so being liked, Romeo and Juliet. Juliet liked Romeo. No, come on, guys. That's what it needs to. You need to be, or she needs to be aroused and desired. She needs to desire you, that burning desire. You know, and normally those are the alpha seed traits. Look them up to figure out what they are. You know, it doesn't have to be, you know, to be cookie cutter. It doesn't have to be Chad. You know, you do as close as you can get to Chad. You know, we do what the best God gave you, and you'll have more opportunity. But you're not going to wish women to be different. You know, oh, they should do this. They should. That's great. They should pick the nice guy. They should pick the smart guy. You know, you have guys that'll say, oh, well, he's a felon, and he can't even spell the word alpha. Look, if she's banging him 7 days a week, every day, twice a day, and you sit there and go, he's a loser. He may be a loser amongst guys. We might go, that guy's a loser. But if she's picked him, he's alpha in her eyes. They don't go by logic and reason. We know this, guys. Alpha's different. They go by what they feel. So anyway, back to the criminal court case. So they end up, Mike Williams and Denise Williams, they end up, Mike Winchester, who's now her, you know, having an affair with the best friend. And get this, guys, Mike Williams, they do this on their 6th wedding anniversary. Their 6th wedding anniversary, this murder is committed. And why was that? Because they felt a need to do it because Denise was not regularly sleeping with Mike Williams. Why? Probably because she didn't desire him and she was getting it from Mike Winchester. So, and he was complaining to his best friend about this. If you're ever complaining in your relationship about the amount of times you're having relations with your wife, if you're complaining, you are not the alpha. You are not alpha seed. There is somebody out there that she might find to be that, but you are not that right now. Women have a sexual appetite, especially with men. They want very badly. If she doesn't want you sexually, look, it's done. Just either be okay with not, you know, whatever, but you're in trouble. And she, you know, women don't respect man they're not sleeping with either. Women won't respect you. And when you're not respected, they get disgusted. Because women go, you know what, this guy don't love himself, he doesn't respect himself. You know, women want a guy that respects himself, that loves himself, that stands on business. That ain't standing on business, dude. And she will be ruthless in the treatment towards you. Ruthless, like this. When she doesn't respect you any longer, she doesn't love you. Because she has to love you, she has to respect you. and when she doesn't respect you any longer, she no longer loves you, do you think this is the father of her child? Women are ruthless when they don't want, when you're not number one anymore. They're ruthless. It's a feature, not a bug. Deal with it. Let's not all, clutch our pearls, gentlemen. Let's not clutch our pearls. Oh, she took me for half my stuff. Look, they don't care. They're not going to care. Let's stop all this. But what we can do is stop being the guy that was, that was there. That was the beta need tends to need a +1, tends to need extra stuff, to get her to like him. The guy who's alpha C don't need anything else. He's just him, man. Bring you to the party. Anyway, so on their 6th wedding anniversary, Mike Winchester and Denise Williams decide that if they get rid of Mike Williams, that they can possibly get married. So they work out a plan. They're gonna have him drowned in Lake Seminole in Florida. So Mike Winchester tells his buddy, hey, let's go duck hunting, because they both like that. They go early in the morning, one morning. And he takes him out to Lake Seminole because it was deep, and he wanted to drown. And he told him to wear waders. A lot of times, I don't duck hunt, but a lot of times duck hunters, they don't like to wear waders because of that same reason. Or at least there's a myth of that or whatever. But whatever the case is, he told him, wear some waders. So he did. He's a buddy, So they head out in Mike Williams' truck, and they launch it off the boat ramp. They're out there, and I guess this is the time to do it. And Mike Winchester pushes them into the water. Well, Mike Williams was a good swimmer or something, and he also was able to cling to one of the tree trunks that was in the water of Lake Seminole. Apparently, it was built on like a pecan farm before they made a lake there. But anyway, so he gets out of his waders, which is awesome. He gets onto a tree stump. Thank God he saved himself from this, guy who his best friend just pushed him in the water. So now Mike Winchester's got a problem. The drowning ain't gonna happen. So what he does now, he circles, he grabs the shotgun, puts it to his head, and shoots him. Crazy, right? Then he had, and Denise is well aware of this. They planned this together. And so then they drag him. Mike drags, he's alone. Mike Winchester drags him into the boat. And he's like, he didn't realize how heavy he would be, Takes him in his own car and goes home. An hour away, apparently. He then, does some other stuff. And he buries him in what's called Carr Lake. Apparently that was near his house. And he buried him in an area which then, I guess, floods over. It buried him good enough to where they would not have found him unless Mike Winchester got that immunity deal, and he showed them. And sure enough, they find him. Autopsy, he's there. So Mike Winchester and Denise ended up getting married 2 to 3 years later, I believe. Because they wanted to kind of let it cool down. They were smart, and they kept it quiet, right? And they were also able to get $1.75 million from Mike Williams' life insurance. Oh, what a great guy you are, Beta Need guy. You ended up providing for her future husband. Come on, man. Come on. Anyway, connect the dots, man. Anyway, so... and she could give two craps about, providing that. DPS, take your... Anyway, so time goes on. Well, as things happen, I believe in 2016, they were married for, I believe, 12 years, something like that. Quite a while, right? They kept the secret really well. But what happens is Denise starts wanting to date other people, I guess. The love fizzled out. And at some point, Mike Winchester, who's losing out on her, he gets jealous. So, apparently they were separated. And he decides at 2:30 in the morning he's going to sneak into her car. And he brings bleach, tarps, and I believe a knife or a saw. Okay, his idea was to kill her. And so he surprised her. She gets to go to work in the morning and comes out from the back seat. Hey, chick, here I am. Go this way, It's time to die. Well, here's how much Denise respected this Mike Winchester guy. Because he did beta stuff, she probably knew. Women know, guys. Women know if you're mentally weak. And he was telling her he's there to murder her. And he's telling her which way to go. She's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to go that way. Well, you better stand on business. You told her to go that way. You're here to do the deed. He needed to stand on business. He didn't, right? So what does she do? He's like, what happens when you let a woman lead you? She'll lead you to your death or jail, right? So she goes to the CVS and she's, sweet talking him. Mike, we can make it work and blah, 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 blah. Well, so she convinces him that they can work it out. And she's not going to the police. Well, that's great. Mike's happy to hear that, right? So he lets her go. She takes him back to his car. He gets all his cleaning supplies, his tarp, his saw. I guess I won't need to, I don't know why I brought this stuff. Anyway, and then she goes to the police. Just as she said she would. So, what women say and what women do, guys, we know there's a difference, But anyway, so she goes to the police, which that was her downfall. Because they end up charging him with kidnapping. Right? And during this, he gets convicted, kidnapping. I mean, God dang, he's right there. It's his wife, right? And he did. He should have gotten convicted, right? But when you've got that skeleton in your closet that you helped plan the murder of your husband with his best friend, your current or separated husband, when you plan that with him, you may not want to do this, right? Well, she did. And when they convicted him, they had a sentencing hearing because most trials in America there's two parts. There's the guilt and innocent phase or acquittal, and then there's the sentencing phase, right? Well, during the sentencing phase, and this is what, like I said, ruthless. Female nature can be ruthless when you're not number one. So they asked her, what do you think he should get? What she says in open court, and you can go look it up. Look up Mike Winchester sentencing. And I think this is when the switch was made. I'm not sure, but I think she says he should get the maximum. No, there is no reach around, guys. There was no lubricant substances put on that one. No, it was full hammer. I mean, she couldn't even. So you think, you're going to get sympathy? No, they don't. No. She wanted full hammer. So what's he do? He goes to the prosecutor and says, look, I got information on the murder of Mike Williams. They said shows where the body is. He does. And everything just like he said, right? And he said Denise was a conspirator in that murder. So they said, all right, well, you get 20 years if you give us everything and tell the truth. And he did. All the way, right? So during her trial, she got convicted of murder, and she got convicted of conspiracy to murder. And I believe they overturned the murder, but I think she's serving a life sentence. I'm not sure, but originally it was 30 years. That might be, but she's in jail, I believe, for the rest of her life. But at minimum, she's gotten 30 years. So she's busy right now. But all this goes to show, that Mike Williams was the ultimate beta need, the ultimate provider. He was smart. And they had said people were, friends of Mike Williams, and everybody, loved dearly his friends. Said he was a great guy, hard worker, loved it, and absolutely, what was the word I can't remember the word they used, but just adored Denise, adored her. He put her up on a pedestal almost. That's not the exact word they used, but he loved her. He wanted the best. He wanted to please her at no ends. She was it for him. But he put her higher than himself. And they said, when she said jump, he would say how high. She said that she would get onto him. She needed her car filled up with gas while she was at work. He'd go in the middle of his day and go fill up her car with gas. If she wanted lunch, he would go grab her lunch, you know? And yes, we all understand, guys. We all understand that, yeah, you need to do nice things for your girl, and I'll say it. But there's limits. There's limits. You know, you got to be out there crushing it. If she's not doing the same for you, if she's not returning the favor, you know, no, we ain't doing all that. Especially, gentlemen, I will say, if there's no romance going on, if she's not, you know, willingly taking you, on her knees, servicing you. If she's not willingly enthusiastic, we ain't doing all getting you lunches. And no, there's rewards for that. There's rewards for that behavior. Yeah, you want to do that in the morning and make me feel great, I'll bring you lunch. And then, we can, whatever, But, if you're in a sexless marriage and you're still putting her on a pedestal, no, absolutely not. Women show women will show to the alpha C guy. They will show their, what's the word? They will show their gratitude, yes, through sexuality. Women know this. What they do when they get pulled over by a cop, or they'll flirt with them, or what they do in a protest. They get naked. Why? They know their sexuality is powerful. Women know. I've even heard women have told me, and during dating, y'all are run by your, eggplant. Y'all are run by that. And to a certain degree, guys are. A lot of guys lack, eggplant discipline or dick discipline. They lack it, So, but yeah, so once again, the beta need guy in this story, just like last story. If once again we talk about looks, money, status. If money and status were that important, we hear this all the time. Just get the money, get your bag. Great, Mike had the bag. Fabio, last case, had the bag. So, that right, what are you going to do? And I know, but we're going to go over more. So, if that were such an attraction, that were such an arousal tool, then what's going on here? Why is there a problem? In both these cases, both these guys made over $200,000, which is, at least, if it's not 1%, it's 2% of the world population in income. And that's not enough. So what do you got? So if you're chasing the bag right now, guys, and you think that's going to help you get ladies or keep ladies, these guys have already shown you it doesn't. And there's many other cautionary tales. Connect the dots, look it up. Don't take my word for it, look it up. Look how many rich guys get, if money and status. And here's the thing, before we wrap it up here. Here's the thing. Women we understand we don't listen to what women say, because again, we love them and they have a public face. They have to. They're image managers. They're reputation controllers. They have to. They always have, and I believe it's important they do. It's important. Because if a woman's reputation gets soiled, she's then guys will start not wanting to be with her, whatever. They know this is ingrained in them. It's a feature, not a bug. So a lot of times we hear what they want to date. Women don't tell you they'll date I've heard it, dating with, I've heard, one time I met a woman, she said, man, I'm just getting tired of these guys that don't have vehicles. How many times have you, I know a lot of guys, how many times have you heard a woman say, yeah, I'm tired of these losers without cars and living with their mom? And wait. On TikTok and all these things we hear on these podcasts, as though they won't deal with a guy who doesn't make this much money and doesn't have this amount of skills. And wait a minute. And alcoholism, that's another one. I'm not dating anymore out here. I'm not dating any more drunks. So they're giving the game away. And basically what women don't tell men, but men who deal with women on a consistent basis know, dude, they will date the broke ass, broke guy, the living with his mom guy, the no ambition guy, but he's got that swag, he's got that alpha swag, They'll date him. They do all the time. All the time. But they gotta tell us. They're not, I mean, that's like, tell all your friends you dated the huge obese chick and you're gonna take it to all the parties. You don't. Why? You don't want guys, it's a reputation. Women the same way. They're not gonna tell you. That's the same thing if they dated the broke loser living with his mom, who I've heard rode a bike to their house. I've heard that several times. These guys show up on bikes. I mean, you never hear this on TikTok or podcast. They're not going to. They're going to keep women's sexuality is a secret they keep very well, and they should. I'm glad they do. Because it's none of anyone's business. It's only your business when you're dealing with her and how she treats you and how she cooperates with you. If she's cooperating with you, and she's treating you well, and she's sexually into you, who cares what her past was? It doesn't matter. And you're never going to know anyway because they're so secretive with it. And as they should be, as we've already discussed. Because a lot of beta males will tear them up in public for that. That's our own fault, right? But if you were working, let's say a restaurant, let's say, and there's 10 guys there, and she slept with 5 of them. If you were all true, quote, and these just placeholders, alpha or real man, we call real man. If you're a real dude, no one would know she slept with anybody because you keep your mouth closed. You don't need validation that you slept with a woman. Only beta males need that. So if the restaurant knows or the workplace knows this woman slept with other people, that's because beta males talk. So anyway, that's where we're at with this one, guys. I think I've covered it enough. We'll keep going over it, but connect the dots, gentlemen. I want men to do better. I want men to be better. I want men to save lives. I don't want men to be depressed. I don't want men to lose half their stuff. The alpha C stuff is, the beta knee stuff, guys, is over. It's over. It's over. We'll keep going over cases. We're just getting started. Anyway, almost to Bastrop, Texas, and we'll be heading into Austin. Thanks for riding with me. Talk to you later. Bye.